Find out what we had for Thanksgiving.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Palumbo Podcast. I'm Dave Palumbo, of course, joined by my compatriot in crime, John Romano, and our good friend, Ameen Alai. We were supposed to have Roger Stone here, political pundit, but he was stonewalled and his internet connection is down, so we'll have to have him back next week. Now, Ameen, is it true that you're going to be going to the inaugural ball with Roger?
There's a good chance that I will be, but it's if I do, it's probably because of a sheer coincidence that I'm going to be at a wedding near Roger's house in Fort Lauderdale right before that. So I might just stay and go with him.
That would be great.
Just tell him I'll go with you.
Tell Roger I'll go.
Wedding. I'll go with Roger.
If you can't make it, I'll drive over there. Believe me, I'm a lot closer than both of you guys. So
I probably missed the wedding and go to the inauguration.
Exactly.
I tossed the wedding too.
Actually, John, you're probably the closest one because you're in because it's going to be in Washington D.C. Actually,
it would take me like 4 hours to drive there, probably 5 maybe.
We can send you and Mr. G there like we did for John Stossel.
Now there's a visual, Mr. G at the inaugural.
Well, he was one of the pollsters, wasn't he? One of the guys who was at the polls, making sure that no funny business was being done?
Did. He did. Oh, I'm glad he did.
He did it last time. He said he was going to do it this time.
Yeah. That's cool.
He was a big volunteer because he's been saying that he believed in this whole, he wanted to make sure the election there was no fraud or anything like that. Right. And so he donated his time,
A lot of people did. Actually, Lara Trump came out and asked for 100,000 volunteers.
Wow.
To poll watch. And I think within just a few hours, she had 220.
Coincidentally, all the states that Kamala Harris won were states that didn't require IDs.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I saw that statistic. Amazing. As a matter of fact, if there was ID required, I wonder if they would have won any states.
They got. Well, I don't know what they got to undo that. I mean, why doesn't the whole country vote the same? Why is
ID?
One state does this, another state does that?
I think things are going to change now.
They got to just go back to the paper ballots all one day and do it
national
like
holiday.
Used to do it, right?
John, how about everyone has to have a government issued ID?
Yes, it is the most ludicrous thing in the entire world to not require ID to vote. It's insanity. You need ID to get into the fucking bathroom. So, I mean, why is it not necessary to have ID if you are voting as an American citizen in a sea of people who are not American citizens?
Exactly.
That you should be able to prove you're an American and vote based on the fact that you have identification.
What California did was insane. What California did was insane. That they refused to actually check right.
No, they made it illegal.
Illegal,
against the law to ask for ID.
Look, Bobby Kennedy said it best. It's not racist to ask for ID. You know why? Because you can do something very simple. If people can't afford an ID, you have them go to the post office, show the fact that they don't make enough money, and the government will pay for the $20 ID for them.
Well, it's what, $10-$20 in state issued ID? I mean, You go to DMV, it takes you 5 minutes.
Right. Boom. But I'm saying the post office can do a government issued ID so that everyone has the same ID. So in other words, Everyone would use a government-issued ID card, and if you don't have that, you don't vote.
Yeah, it's called a passport.
No, I'm saying if you don't have a passport, you'd have to use You'd have to use.
But they have passports that are the IDs. So I mean, it exists.
Yes,
so
I know.
The thing exists. What you're saying exists. Yeah. Why don't they use
the loophole? The loophole exists for the people that came in the country, ditched their passport, don't have ID. So that's why
you can't vote. You can't vote.
Can't vote. Sorry, just you can't vote.
You have to be able to prove you're an American citizen, which shouldn't be difficult at all.
Actually, what you should have to provide is a fucking tax return, because then at least you got skin in the game, right? So that's what you should base your voting eligibility on is your taxes.
If you have a government issued ID, you can't fake that, and so there would be no problem, with anything, because there was a woman here in Cape Coral who went to the same polling place I went to. I saw her on TikTok or on Instagram, and she said that when she got there, they said, "Oh, you already voted." She's like, "No, I didn't." They said, "Yeah, you sent a mail-in ballot." She's like, "No, I didn't." They made a phone call. They're like, "All right, you can vote now. We erased."
Wow.
So there was probably a lot of funny business.
Yep. And Trump still won.
Yeah, which tells you how much he probably really won by.
Not only did he win, he demolished her. I mean, it was.
And where were all these votes that happened last time for Biden? Where they don't exist.
Yeah.
15 million votes, right? That disappeared. Yeah, exactly.
30.
The 30?
Yeah. Where's Biden's 1880? Where's Biden's 80 million votes? They wouldn't vote for Kamala. What happened?
They didn't vote. Apparently, they didn't vote this time at all.
Right. Because they were so disillusioned with the option.
It had nothing to do with the fact that the mail-in ballots that came in had no signatures. That had nothing to do with it at all, of course.
Steve Bannon says he's going to get to the bottom of that, because now that Trump won and you have accurate analytics pertaining to this election, now you can compare him to the other one. That's where you see where all the votes are missing.
And if you look at the first election that Trump won, and you look at this election, it's about the same.
Right.
It's really about the same. The question is again, what happened to all these mail-in ballots that were for Biden?
Exactly. Especially in Georgia. Where did those votes go in Georgia? What happened to them? So he's going to get to the bottom. Bannon will get to the bottom of it, because now he's got zero to lose at this point. So
all charges dismissed for Trump.
Yep. Yeah. Now, and what about the charges coming for Fani Willis, Letitia James? The
judge?
The judge. I don't know if Merchan can be anything criminal from him, but definitely, what's her name? Letitia James is definitely, and I think Fani Willis more than anyone is going to get
I think so.
Criminal charge, and the boyfriend too, Nathan Wade. Both of them incompetent, billed for shit that they didn't do. I mean, ridiculous.
I don't know. You might find that Trump just doesn't do anything. I mean, look, he was going to throw Hillary in jail too, and he didn't do anything.
Yeah, he's very forgiving. He gives people multiple chances, and a lot. He's really not this like, I'm going to get you fighter type guy. He'll fight for himself, but he's not going to fight against you.
The thing is, we're at a point now. I can understand him opting not to pursue Hillary as a distraction, the family, blah, blah, blah. In hindsight, he regrets that. He should have done it. The problem is, now that we've allowed that, by virtue of not doing that, we've allowed the whole concept to metastasize to the point now where lying is just part of the deal. Cheating is expected. I mean, it's just a cauldron of shit right now. So you can't not let these things go unaddressed. You have to address them. People have to be held accountable, because if they're not held accountable and not made to suffer for doing this,
it'll happen again.
Exactly. What's to prevent anybody from doing it again?
I mean, look, you're right. Actually, if he would have done something about Hillary, the emails, but the whole thing, then she would have never been able to pay for the dossier, the fake Russian collusion. And on top of that, Roger would have never got arrested for lying about something that never even happened.
And 50 former heads of the DOJ could offices of the DOJ could not be in disgrace right now, and also facing criminal perjury charges. It's the perjury. It's the perjury. That is what, I mean, Alan Dershowitz was saying this last night on his show. It's that you can't let people who have openly committed perjury in front of the world go. And that's Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade, top of the list right there. You cannot let that go.
They'll do it again. They'll do it again.
Sure. Look at what they're already doing again. The lying. How about the lying? From Biden saying, I had nothing to do with my son's business, Kamala saying she's not fracking, the Morning Joe saying Trump is Hitler.
Oh, they're the worst. They're the worst.
All the View, just lie after lie. Venomous to the vitriol.
Hey, did Elon buy MSNBC already?
No,
not yet. You sure?
Not that I heard of. No, not yet.
I hear it's on the table.
I don't know if he will. I don't think that's a smart move for him.
Well, he could revitalize it.
Well, I mean, I think it's just so tarnished. It just needs to go away.
He should just start his own network. Yeah.
Just. I mean, it's gonna die on the vine. It's not like somebody's got to buy it. It's gonna expire worthless because no one wants it.
You look at the views that like Morning Joe or The View or any of these channels have. We're talking under 6-figure, like under 100,000.
Because I mean, it's like your grandmother's watching it.
I know.
No one's watching it.
Maybe even bots. Who knows? They really might not have much of an audience at all.
It's your grandparents are sitting in assisted living and they're watching that. That's who's watching it. It's not. There's no people like us watching that show or young kids.
You know what this is analogous to? This is analogous to bodybuilding print media dying in light of the internet. So what you've got now is the only difference is these mainstream media, legacy media outlets have poisoned their own well, so they deserve what they get, right? Yeah. So if you've got Morning Joe doesn't crack 100,000 viewers in the major demographic, that's compared to Joe Rogan, who's got 23 million, 22 million, whatever it is, people watch his show. So the same thing, legacy media news is gone, just like print died. For us,
isn't it?
The alternative now is podcasts. So you're going to go to.
Isn't it interesting? Hold on,
It's like the 8-track, right?
I got Trump calling me on the other line.
No, Beta and VHS. It's like
Beta and VHS.
Yeah,
sure.
that's the better.
But isn't it ironic that bodybuilding kind of got the last laugh if you think about this, John? Right? Because we predicted magazines would be going out, and that's why we had to focus on the internet. Blackman didn't believe us, but even better is that mainstream media wouldn't put bodybuilding on TV, and we got the last laugh because not regular TV now is gone. I never thought that would happen.
How about magazines? So you can see that we're in a state of flux.
It's so funny you guys say that because I'm having
Let John finish for a second.
So we're evolving in that same realm. So by virtue of the fact that now you have a poisoned legacy media, nobody believes anything they say.
Right.
But now you have alternatives that you didn't have before. Before you'd have to jump from CNN to MSNBC. Right. Now you can ditch them all, and you can go to Rogan or Shapiro or
most people do that.
They do, obviously, because the numbers are there. The numbers are in the tens of millions who follow. Bill O'Reilly. All of the conservative media that is not. It's not personality opinion driven. It's facts. It's cold, hard facts. And they've been dissected and vetted and proven and fact checked.
It's not a highlight reel either, John. It's long format too.
Right. Good point.
And another thing that's kind of interesting is that, I mean, like I said, I love the fact that we as bodybuilders get the last laugh on all this. But I mean,
out of everybody.
There have been networks like Paramount, right? I have the Paramount app because I like it.
Right.
So I'm watching all their programming that would normally be on TV on demand on my app. On whatever you
Apple
use
TV.
Apple TV, or you use Amazon Fire Stick. But I watch or on your internet ready TV. But no one's watching it like turning the channel on and like we're turning the channel. Oh, let's watch so-and-so's on at 8 o'clock. No, we're going to watch it on demand. So the stations that did that are going to survive. The news, for some reason, it can't do it because they sold out to the drug
sold out. Yeah. Oh man, we should talk about that because
The advertising.
We got to cross our fingers that Kennedy gets this job because
I know.
one of the first, this has got to happen. They have got to stop these advertisements on TV for tell your doctor about blah, 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 Fleetazyme or whatever. It's like, that is such a transparent view into the corruption that goes into preventing news outlets from investigating the drug companies because they can't do it. Because if they did do it, the drug companies would stop supporting them. They take up 50% of their ad revenue right now. If you drop
80%.
Yeah, upwards. Yeah,
80%.
80%. But you know what? Here's my question: if Kennedy gets rid of it and says, you know what, these drug companies cannot advertise on TV, okay?
Right.
80% of the ad revenue goes away. Now, someone's got to fill in that slot, okay? Now, maybe they're not going to pay as much as the drug companies did, but it might revitalize the news because now the news is not beholden to the drug companies. They might get real advertisers who come on board, and they might actually be able to go back to real news, and that could save them.
And they gotta pay commensurate. There is no valid reason why Rachel Madcow gets $30 million a year for doing one show a week.
I know.
Right? That's obscene. You should make $100,000 a year. You're just like everybody else. You do the news, and it's not a glamorous position that everybody's vying for, so that you can be put in a position of being able to lie for the deep state.
Right,
John, I got news. You can get a lot better looking people than they got on there for way less money.
Exactly. Look at the crew they got there now. It's a fucking freak show.
They should put Megyn Kelly on there. They should put what's her name? The black girl,
Kaylee McEnany.
Candace Owens.
Candace.
I mean, that's who I want to see give me the news, and give me the truth,
Yep. I would like to see an all intellectually competent, intelligent, women-only anchor newscast.
Right.
The reason being is because women don't have the inherent destructo gene in them like men do, So you're likely to get a more neutral view of what's going on because they have no skin in the game. Whereas guys are like vying for superiority, So it's.
I just think look, I think when you're not being told by the network what to report and not to report. I think that look, who was the most trusted guy in news for a year?
Walter Cronkite.
Right, Walter Cronkite. I mean, he was everyone's father, and grandfather.
And he was a flaming liberal, and you would never have known it. No. Never have known it.
Who do you think kind of replaced him? Anderson Cooper or not quite?
Well, actually,
Dan Rather, didn't he?
What happened? Oh, replaced him on NBC?
No, just like
or in general.
In general.
What happened in general was 2020. That's what happened. That's when networks started making money on the news. So prior to 2020, the network had a newscast, 5 o'clock, and you got Walter Cronkite or 4 o'clock, whatever it was. It was an hour long. Boom. They might have had Huntley and Brinkley on afterwards for half an hour. So there was at most an hour and a half of news at the end of the day, and that was it. Then you had the morning shows. So, there just wasn't that much of it to go around. Right. So now, you've got the once 2020 proved that the network could make money off the news. Now they went to an hour-long format. It became opinion pieces. Yep. They will research them. The researching became biased, and then the other networks followed suit. And you all of a sudden got a 24-hour news cycle. CNN got invented after that. And then you had a 24-hour news cycle, and on every hour you had a new host, and they became the Wolf Blitzers of the world. They became famous. And
OJ trial had a lot to do with
that. How did Ted Turner blow it? I mean, Ted Turner had the world by the balls.
He did. What happened? The main thing that went wrong is they started paying these anchors like rock stars.
Yeah,
that was the destruction of everything. They should have been low-level paid people. Like I said, $150,000 a year. That's it. That's what you get for a newscaster.
Right.
20 million, 10 million. These guys are all in the tens of millions.
I know.
What do they do? They read the fucking teleprompter,
Some of them are so horrible to look at, too. At least give me someone who's good to look at if you're going to pay them that much.
Every time I see Al Sharpton on MSNBC with his tie so tight, who is that character on South Park that looked like his head was going to explode because his tie was too tight? It was exactly what he looks like. Like any minute, Sharpton's head's going to explode. Him and Adam Schiff, they got the both same Windsor knots.
He's got the skinniest neck.
No, but the truth is, I mean, you're naming names. I don't think people even know if you're under probably the age of 30, you don't even know who you're talking about.
Probably not.
These guys do not get the news from those stations. They get it from the internet.
TikTok. They get the 18 to 25 demographic gets their news from TikTok. Like 80, 90%.
I wouldn't trust TikTok either, believe me.
What's that?
I wouldn't trust TikTok either.
No, of course not. I mean,
I go to TMZ for my news.
You're not in the 18 to 25-year-old demo.
That may be more accurate than anything else.
I think it is.
Like wiredmagazine.com.
I go to TMZ. No, you know what? I usually listen to Patrick Bet-David. I think he's like I really like the way they break down the news and they analyze it. I think it's pretty impressive. It's amazing what this guy did. I don't know how he rose to such heights so quickly. I mean, I had him on RxMuscle like 3 years ago. I interviewed him. And now he's back charging like, $1 million to make an appearance.
He wouldn't come back just for old time's sake.
I didn't even ask him, but I'm just saying it's pretty impressive where he's taken himself.
Incredible.
He did. Valuetainment really took off.
What do you think was the why it was so it grew so quickly?
I think he interviewed the right people. I mean, he interviewed the mobsters and he interviewed bodybuilders, and I think people just loved it.
Well, I don't know if the bodybuilders helped him at all, but
I don't know. He got a lot of views from Dorian. Back then.
He did.
It was at the time it was his most viewed show for a while.
Yeah.
The thing about Patrick Bet-David is the guy's driven. So, he became very successful, in his own right, prior to his podcast, and he just transferred that vision, passion, and drive to, his podcast. So he's wired for success. So whatever he does, is going to be successful.
His story of getting to America is very interesting.
Very cool.
He's really struggled, and he's he also, I think he's a great father too. The way he raised.
He was an Iranian refugee.
Yep.
Yeah.
His parents moved to a refugee camp in Germany for a while. They were
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, he's not Muslim. He was a Christian. That's
Christian.
right. He was probably ostracized him.
Yeah.
2.3 million followers. I mean, it's pretty impressive. He had his election night that you see right there.
Exactly. So he had
the most. John, he had the most live viewers of anyone in any media outlet for election day. So everyone was watching us. He had almost like 800,000 viewing live.
He had the coolest venue imaginable. He
sure did.
I know. He
whole
bought that
giant warehouse and had it all.
Candace,
he put a lot into it, so he deserves it. But he's a great example. Him, everybody, any of the shows on the Daily Wire,
Benny Johnson,
No Spin News, Megan Kelly, and those are all shows. Rogan, of course. Those are all shows with 10, 20 million plus. Viewers. They can't go near mainstream media. Mainstream media in a key demo doesn't hit 100,000 views. And yet these idiots are still getting paid tens of millions of dollars a year. Obviously, that's not a sustainable trajectory.
This podcast from yesterday that I watched has got 530,000 views. This is just an update on what's going on in the world at this point.
Right.
Tucker has more views on his show than all of Fox.
Too. There's another one.
Yeah. I think he's deplatformed on YouTube. Is he?
Who cares?
No, he's
everywhere else.
That's why. No, I think Elon said come to Twitter because I think they took away.
Yeah, he's
on Rumble too.
And Rumble. Yep.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
He's hardly a revolutionary. You know what I mean? So stupid. Tucker is probably the most reasonable of them all.
He is fairly reasonable.
He's a cool guy. I've met him.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
With Roger?
Yeah. I met a lot of cool people with Roger.
He's so he lives down the block from Aceto.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's in Maine.
I mean, how did you meet him? How did you get to be friends with him?
With Roger?
Yeah.
Roger worked out at Olympus Gym in Falls Church, Virginia, the same gym that King Kamali and Dave Bautista worked out at. He drove a Rolls Royce there, and you'd always see this car. You're like, wow. And he saw who was winning the shows. Me, my brother, my crew, we were winning the shows, and he wanted to, get with the winners.
Tucker, almost 15 million followers on Twitter. That's crazy.
Just Twitter.
It's just Twitter, yeah. So did Roger ever want to compete? Was he ever like in that realm or no?
Not competing in a bodybuilding competition, but he would like to compete in like a best body competition.
All right,
like that. Yeah.
That's that big Nixon tattoo on his back. That would go over big.
Yeah. We should have him do a pose down between him and RFK Jr. Right? Same age.
He needs to get in shape because during this time of year, it's hard for him to get into the gym.
Do like they do in jail. Do the peel off.
Yeah.
You can train him, get him back in shape. You need some money anyway. Let him.
I told you, Dave. I'll probably be moving to Florida. That's the job. The job was back in the day. The great job was, Roger would say, hey, how many clients you have? How much you making? Ditch them. I'll pay you more than them. Just train me. And with everything that's going on right now, more than likely that's going to be the same gig.
Do you think he'll be in the cabinet at all?
No, he doesn't want to be. He just advise people.
Oh, so he gets paid like as an advisor behind the scenes?
A consultant. Yeah, a consultant.
Yeah. He'd be better off in that position because he could attack multiple fronts that way.
Plus, he's not visible.
Very good at it.
He's not visible.
Yeah, and he's very good at it.
A lifetime of building connections to be where he's at right now, and everything came through for him. If you look at his show, The Stone Zone on Rumble, you can see all the people that he's interviewed, from Flynn to RFK. Everybody that's in the cabinet right now, they're all people that he's interviewed on his show.
Yeah,
Tulsi, everybody, they're all up there.
Did Roger have anything to do with RFK coming on board with?
I think he got Trump to like him because in the beginning we were saying that'd be great if they teamed up. Remember?
Yeah.
We were all saying that'd be great, and look what ended up happening. They did team up. So
that's why I was asking if Roger had anything to do with that.
I can't say because it would be wrong for me to say, but I would say I think so.
We'll ask Roger when he comes on next
week.
I think
this whole thing with the food and RFK and the drugs has really gotten under my skin to a very high degree, because to me this is so shameful as an American. It is so shameful that we are so technologically and intellectually ahead of a lot of the world in terms of science and research and the human body, etc., that we would be considered the fattest nation on earth, 3/4 of our population fat and obese, sick, dying, drug addicted. It's absolutely shameful that we are in that position, that our foods are banned in other countries, banned because of the shit we have in them.
John, you're right.
To me, this is like such a huge issue that we have to undo this thing.
Think about it. The three of us probably eat healthier than 99.9% of the population.
Yeah,
and we think we're eating super healthy, but we're really not, because all the vegetables and fruits we eat are all insanely saturated with pesticides.
Microplastics.
Any flour-based products that we use, which is wheat and corn, right, have tons of pesticides in them because they're modified. Because they use
atrazine in the water,
crops that resist, Roundup, pesticides. So what they do is they saturate these crops with the pesticides because it doesn't kill the plant. Problem is we're eating the plants,
right?
And so all these things, we don't even know what's going into our bodies, and we think we're eating like whole grains, and we think we're eating, healthy, and we're eating, grass-fed beef, but everything's poisoned. Even the fish have mercury and all this other stuff in it. And so even the healthy eating people are probably not healthy. And that's scary. I mean, and then they put you on all these prescription drugs. I didn't know, but I was they put me on a beta blocker, It was like inhibiting my insulin release. I was running high blood sugar. I got myself off of it. I'm like, I'm not going to take this crap. So, we're all over medicated. Now, I'm not against medications, because look, if you have high blood pressure, you should take blood pressure medication, right? But sometimes they put you on too much stuff too, because it's just part of the protocol. It's like, people make fun of bodybuilders because we have like cycles, where you take testosterone, DECA, equipoise, an estrogen blocker, or, an estradiol,
right
growth
now.
hormone, and then you take a prolactin inhibitor, cabergoline, and everyone's like, why are you taking all these things? You don't even know what's wrong. And meanwhile, they do the same thing when you go to the doctor. They put you on 14 different medications, Well,
one to mitigate the side effects of the other and make it work. The thing is, though,
because just one more second, they won't let the doctors tell you what to do naturally to potentially fix the problem.
No,
that doesn't only allowed to tell you what medication to take.
That's not a fiscally responsible thing to do.
No.
The thing is, I will say that I spend an amount of time that I don't think the average working person could commit to purchasing food that is not poison and preparing it in a way that we can eat out of the Tupperware every day of the week. But I got to go to one farm stand for the produce because I know it's locally grown, fresh. I got to go to another health food store for stuff like honey and beans and rice and shit like that. I got to go to the meat place. There's a separate meat place I got to go to for the organic farm raised. It's a job, man. You got to go to all of these different. And they're not next to each other.
And I don't do that. I don't do that. And I consider myself trying to be as healthy as possible. I don't have time.
Dave, and I'm one up on you. I go to the mountains to get my water from
he
spring.
Has no money. He has to go hunt for his own food. John.
I hunt for my own food.
There's something to be said for that. I mean,
he's way healthier than we are, right?
I'm always getting venison products from our friends because a lot of everybody eats deer, shoots them over here.
Wait, but I hunt with a slingshot because I can't possess a gun. So.
a
spear.
But no, he's like Branch Warren hunting the hogs with the dog and the knife, like he's stabbing with the knife. How insane was? You got to dig that video up. That was I think to this day that's probably the most insane thing that we've ever covered.
You go to the woods hunting with the rabbi, so as soon as you kill it, he makes it kosher.
I don't think you can make a hog kosher, but
well, not a hog, venison maybe.
Venison. Yeah.
Well, put it this way: if there was ever an apocalypse, the only person I want to get stuck with is John, because John knows how to survive off the land. He's already, he's a survivalist.
And if all else fails, he'll be hopping on motorcycles headed to the mountains.
No, John's a legitimate survivalist. He knows all those. He can do any. He can make a house out of straw.
John's MacGyver. He's the modern day MacGyver. I say it all the time, man. I think you're the MacGyver. And you can cook like a mother.
Honestly, though, I hate being at the mercy of someone that knows how to do something that I don't.
Right.
It's like if I got a guy coming to fix the house, I just got this thing that if I don't know how to do it, at least I know the process by which it can be done, and it makes sense to me because I know how to do other related shit, and I won't get ripped off. People get ripped off all the time because they go, we'll put a 2x6 over there. Meanwhile, you don't need one at all. So I just hate being a victim of that kind of ignorance of a situation where
and John, think about
can get over on me.
Think about everybody else that's a victim to their health. I mean, we're talking about it right now, but the same way all three of us think, and then we talk about health and we help people train and all that. So many people have no clue. They it's like, with my kid, I'm telling him from the beginning, listen, son, here's your manual. Like, this is what you have to do. This is what you need to do. So he knows it. He won't eat candy. He won't eat stuff that's not good. Not because he knows it's not good for him, right? But a lot of other parents, they raise their kids, and them as parents grew up. They have no idea what the work manual. They don't know how to do anything with their body. Not from exercise, not from health.
I try to buy snacks for the kids, and I read all the ingredient lists, and I am horrified. Horrified. They what the funny thing is? It's not even one source of sugar. They have like 5 sources. Why do you have to use 5 different sources of sugar? Why can't you use the same source of sugar for everything in there? Like, they don't taste differently. They're all the same sugar. You have corn syrup, and you have molasses, and you have sugar, and then you have.
But because they use so much of it, it's because they use so much of it that they dry up the supply of one purveyor and it jacks up the price.
You might be right.
So they got to spread it out over, the spectrum. I play this game at the supermarket. Every time I go to the supermarket, I play this kid doesn't stand a chance game. And well, as I'm walking through, I see, there's this woman, all right, 90 pounds overweight, wearing, Lane Bryant stretch pants and a purple shirt, and with blue hair all the time. And there's the daughter or the son, or two or one of each, or
like
whatever.
a mini me, right?
Yeah, they're literally little butterball turkeys too. And I'm like, I'm looking in the cart. Everything's in a box, in a can, in a bag. There's nothing fresh, all box packaged, prepared, microwavable. And I look at these kids, I look at the mother, and I look at the whole situation, and this kid doesn't stand a chance. And I go and I count, and usually I'm like anywhere between 5 and 12 in a given trip to the market of numbers of this kid doesn't stand a chance.
Right.
It's sad. It's really sad because I look at it this way. It's a form of child abuse because if you are knowingly, willingly looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I need to lose 80 pounds, let me give my kid some Pop-Tarts. See, it doesn't make any sense. If you perpetuate that bad behavior, bad choices, bad health, bad hygiene, all of those things work together to make slovenly, fat, sickly kids. And those are not the ones that are going to grow up and change the world.
Lack of exercise and a lack of sunlight too.
Right. That too. What happened to the President's Council on Physical Fitness? When I grew up in school, you had to do push-ups, pull-ups. You had to literally perform this at gym class. Otherwise, you got a
fail gym
report card or some shit.
Yeah, you would fail gym.
Yeah, you would fail gym. Do they even have gym anymore?
They don't have gym anymore, man. They don't. There's no council. All that needs to come back. You're right.
Look at that. I want to show you something. Kennedy brings this up. I've been bringing it up for years, but look at the Fruit Loops. Okay, look at the ingredient list on the Fruit Loops here.
It's so bad.
There's obviously corn. We know that. Sugar, right? Wheat flour,
yellow corn flour.
That's not the problem. Look at where it says vitamins. Look at the last ingredients where they have the colors.
Red
40, yellow 5, blue 1, yellow 6.
Yellow.
If you look at the European or Canadian,
Canada. Just look at Canada.
They don't have those. They don't have those colors in there.
Dave, they make the same Fruit Loops for Canada and America. In America, Canada has a fruit dye, and we ship it there, and ours have the poison.
But ours have a better color than the Canadian ones, so they look more appetizing, But
so our fat kids will eat more of them, so they
lights their brain up.
You, John, and maybe you can answer. If they can make it different for Canada, okay, or Europe, why can't they just make it the same for everyone? Why do they have to give us the poison stuff?
Because
for what reason?
Yellow 6, blue 1, red 2 cost money. Okay, and they're going to buy them from a drug company. So if they don't put them in there, the drug company doesn't make any money. So
maybe you're right. No, maybe the natural dyes are more expensive, and maybe it's cheaper to put the colors in there. I think that might be the answer.
It's going to come down to money, no matter what. But there is in our way of doing it. What happens is whether those ingredients are cheaper or more expensive is irrelevant or less of importance to the fact that they are poison and they're making our kids sick. And if you make enough kids sick, you sell more drugs. So it's a continuing process of selling ingredients, selling drugs,
they invest in each other.
Well, supposedly those colors make ADD worse. Supposedly,
yes. So you got to take more Ritalin.
The red 40 is known for it.
Right. Yeah. So they perpetuate the problem.
Gatorade puts that in their red, right? Too.
And so then here you go, Dave, where they have this in the food, like he says, kid's very hyper, take the kid to see the doctor. Doctor may or may not know, probably knows now, won't say anything about the diet, prescribes him Adderall.
Right.
Now the kid's a junkie. He's on a version of amphetamines.
Right.
That warps the brain too, but they never got off the red 40. So it's a balance for the food. Yeah. If they got off the red 40, then the Adderall would be something else. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe they wouldn't need as much Adderall either.
They wouldn't need it at all.
It's like the analogy of the fish tank with the dirty water, right? The fish tank, the water's dirty, the fish in it are dying. So what the rest of the world does is they take the fish out, drain the water, put clean water in, put the fish back in. What we do is we give the fish drugs. So we give the fish drugs to cure what illness the water is giving them, which creates more toxins in the excrement that makes the water more polluted, which makes them more sick, which requires more medicine. So we're in this constant snowball rolling down the hill of drug companies profiting off us, our bad health, and the way that the media feeds us the enticement to continue. The commercials, the marketing, all entice you to consume more of this shit. And the more of it you consume, Morgan Spurlock proved or attempted to prove that there was an ingredient in the McDonald's foods that made the food addictive.
Oh, 100% it was. 100%.
So
100%.
That is what they do. They make this stuff addictive. I know kids who can't live without the Fruit Loops. But But you know, I don't even blame you. You know how you were blaming the parents earlier?
Yeah. Obviously, for food that has tons of sugar. I mean, the average person by now should know that that's not good. But let's put that aside. But most people, probably us, maybe even included, don't even know that some of the ingredients in these foods are poisonous and are, doing terrible things to the body that we don't even know about. And that's what Kennedy wants to investigate. He's like, why don't we do research to figure, hey, maybe some of these ingredients are actually causing this obesity epidemic. Maybe they're causing us to have more ADD. Maybe they're causing the chronic disease epidemic. Why aren't we studying it? We study everything else.
And they study the label. They study the label. These people, they read the label. Does anybody look up yellow 6?
I won't get it. I won't buy it.
They can't even pronounce the shit that's on there.
I'll admit ignorance. There's certain things that I don't even know are bad for me in there because I just don't know what they are. They're could be preservatives or anything like that. So, but if Kennedy has a bunch of people, a panel that goes through all this and says, hey, we just figured out this shit is bad, not going into the food. This stuff is okay. Put that in the food.
Right.
There's an app called Yuka, Y-U-K-A. You can scan the barcode on any food, and it'll tell you what the toxins are, what they do to you too. Right. This causes this causes that. Right. So that's a good app for anybody who's watching the show. If you're out there buying groceries for your kids or for your family, Y-U-K-A, scan the barcode, and also for cosmetics, for hygiene stuff too. It'll tell you what poisons are in the skin stuff or the toothpaste.
My worry is that everything is poisonous. That's the problem.
It pretty much is.
It pretty much is.
I remember interviewing with Jason Ha, and he was telling me how he was eating, striped bass, every day, and he wound up getting mercury poisoning from it. He's like, now I eat McDonald's because I'm afraid to eat anything. He goes, if I eat fish, I'm afraid I'm going to get more mercury poisoning. He was really sick for a while.
They take good products like we have Bragg's apple cider vinegar, right? Yeah. Now they're making it with the apples that have Bill Gates's appeal on there.
That's not true. That's not true.
Stop that.
That was a TikTok bullshit.
That was a TikTok. But that does happen though with a lot of these companies. That you may start off with a good company and then another company buys it over and starts putting in these ingredients.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
The bean counters start working and seeing where they can cut, squeeze nickels.
I want someone defending and telling the people what's good and what's not. Then if you decide to eat the shit, it's on you. But I want to know what's not good for me so that I can avoid colors and preservatives that are hurting me and I don't even know it. And I think that's what Kennedy's trying to say. Look, people are going to eat McDonald's if they want McDonald's, but at least let's let people know let's get poisons out of the food supply. And then let's tell people, hey, guess what? Too many carbs is not good for you. You're going to get diabetes. You're going to get heart disease. You're going to have high cholesterol, which is going to cause blockage of your arteries. If you want to do it, that's fine. But we're going to tell you the truth. We're not going to tell you that the food pyramid, eating 25 grains a day, is really what you need to do. You need protein. They need to reverse the food pyramid.
The way it is now, you're going to get, if it ends up being like that, you go to McDonald's, you get your fries. There'll be a warning label like on the cigarettes, warning, does cause cancer. 17 ingredients, Dave. Come on.
Well, first of all, there's no reason to fry them. You don't need to fry these things in vegetable oils that we know got rancid. And
plenty of beef tallow.
I mean, beef tallow is probably not the best either, but it's way better than the.
It's
than,
way
than
better.
oil.
It's way better than what they're doing.
They should be doing it in macadamia nut oil, but it's too expensive to do that. That's
right.
Why.
Yeah. There's always a financial component.
But
the thing, I think it's
fine.
time. I think it's time that our community now, bodybuilders, fitness people, the stigma of being the big dumb meatheads should be lifted at this point. In the world, the two out of three, or almost 75% of the people should be taking a look at us now and saying, "Can you help us?" Because all of us are willing to help them if they ask, right? So it's just, we've gotten to a point where we're too soft, too weak, too fat, and just too uneducated. That's the whole point of my, this kid doesn't stand a chance routine, is that the mother looks at herself in the mirror and knows she's fat. The mother looks at the kid and knows they're fat. They cannot possibly, at this day and age, accept the fact that that is good. It's just not. So it's not good, and you need to do something about it because it's going to cost money and it's going to cost quality of life.
But they got it also, they made it in a way that you can't say anything about it because it's fat shaming or whatever. So they've almost nurtured this whole weak environment.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, they have.
Did you see this, guys? Kennedy doing his turkey and beef tallow?
Yeah, I saw that. He didn't, it looked like he did a good job.
Yeah.
He lowered it real slow and everything.
Yeah. That's beef tallow.
That's good for your skin too, isn't it?
Yeah, you spray put it on your skin.
We cooked it up here.
He boiled it up in that pot. Now he's going to put the
This
turkey.
is the dangerous part.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Put it in there very slowly. Make it stop making noise. And a little bit more. Honey, are you going to eat some of this?
No, I don't eat.
Why doesn't she eat turkey?
She's a vegan.
Then we leave it in there for 40 minutes. Perfect. Cheryl still won't eat it. All right, this is 40 minutes later.
That's nice, right?
Wow, it's beautiful. It's the
Where
second
is he,
time
guys?
they make turkey.
Is he in Florida?
I don't know where he is.
It's warm.
I want to drain a little.
I thought he has a place in Nantucket or somewhere in Massachusetts, but that's not obviously Massachusetts. That's probably
He used the coat hanger, guys.
yeah.
That's going to be delicious.
I love him.
This is how we cook the
I know
mahalo,
that we
eh?
definitely would be good friends with him if we hung
Yeah,
out.
too bad we can't get him on this show. He'd love us.
Maybe Roger could ask him for us.
You never
Mike-
know, man. He did Roger's show. You never
I
know.
know. Before
He was
maybe
Mark
before he
Bell
starts
knows him.
working, for the government, it gets busy. Maybe we can get him on in December sometime.
Maybe we could ask Mark Bell to help us out.
He's relevant to the bodybuilding community because we all advocate healthy eating and stuff like that. I mean, it would be really a good match.
It's a great video of him doing bench presses with Mark Bell's slingshot.
Yeah.
Old
saw
gym
that.
in Venice.
Yeah.
I mean, how much closer to home can you get than that?
Right.
He belongs here.
He was training with Mike O'Hearn.
And we'll help him. We'll help
was
him
he? I
get the
didn't know that.
message out. I mean, he can benefit off of our reach.
I'd love to send him some species nutrition products too. Just
Absolutely.
to try out.
Yeah.
The health and human services guy using my products. That would be nice. All right. Well, guys, I want to thank you for dropping by. I know Roger was supposed to join us, but we'll get him on next week. I thought it was a good topic, a good lead-in topic for next week.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been asking me to do some political shows. I don't like to kind of put it into after hours because a lot of times it's just those people don't want to hear it. They want to hear us talk about insane shit.
Well, we'll just do this show.
Yeah, this worked out well, and talk to Roger and see if we can get him on next week, and we'd love to hear his opinion on everything that's been going on.
I got a few questions to ask him.
Yeah, me too.
Right on.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us again. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Don't forget to check out, probably by the time this goes live, the Cyber Monday sale on Species Nutrition. For now, I'm Dave Palumbo with John Romano and Ameen Alai. We will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.